whole lot of people will try to tell you that it's not possible to increase the size of your penis. Well, those people are full of shit, and I know because I actually did it. My name is Sterling Cooper. I'm an award-winning adult film star, a former high-class male companion, and I'm here to help you improve your sex life. In today's video, we're going to talk about the truth around increasing the size of your penis. We're going to talk about the impacts that it can have on your sex life and on women's preferences for penis size. And at the very end of this video, I'm going to show you some testimonials from one of my best customers and the results that he has had with increasing his penis size. So whenever guys actually talk about increasing the size of their penis, they tend to get shamed for it a lot, actually, which seems kind of silly to me, at least. Now, women will run around with breast implants, butt implants, lip fillers, fake eyelashes, fake nails, push-up bras, high heels. Makeup? Do I need to go on, you know, to improve their sexual appeal? So why the hell shouldn't a guy do something about his appendage? And more importantly, do it in a safe way, which doesn't involve any kind of nasty, dangerous, potentially irreversible surgeries. So I get asked a lot, do women genuinely like bigger penises? And having been in the adult film industry and worked with a lot of women who have worked with a lot of penises, I can tell you what they have told me directly. So an interesting thing to notice is that whenever dudes talk about big penises, they're always referring to the length. But when women talk about big penises, they tend to be referring to the girth. And that's the first insight, is that typically women will describe girthier penises as more sexually pleasurable, more sexually gratifying to them. Now, the length can also increase her pleasure, and we'll get into a couple of studies that actually back up these claims of mine. Now, the girthier your dick is, the fuller she feels, the more sensation she feels. So, okay, it makes sense that it's going to lead to, you know, a more pleasurable sexual experience. In terms of longer dicks, I actually get a lot of co-stars in my industry complaining about working with the super big ones, like the 12-inch bastards, who are basically punching her cervix all day because the next day she has to take a day off. Now, some women are complete size queens, don't get me wrong, but the typical average woman doesn't want one that's super gigantic in length, but she does want one that's kind of above average in length. And again, we'll get into a particular study which emphasizes that point. So there was a study done by researchers at King's College in London, and what they did was they recruited a bunch of couples and they got the guys to wear sort of silicone rings on the base of their penis of different lengths. And what they were actually testing for was, by reducing the depth of penetration of a dude's penis, how it affected his partner's sexual gratification. So for example, the dude had like a 6-inch schlong. They made him wear like a 1-inch silicone ring at the base of his penis, so his actual practical depth of penetration was capped out at 5 inches, right? That makes sense? So they tested, you know, by using rings of different depths and reducing the depth of penetration, and then they gauged their partner's sexual gratification from the reduced length penis. And here's what they found. They found that decreasing the length of the penis available for vaginal penetration during sex decreased sexual pleasure in the women. On average, they found reducing the depth of penetration led to a statistically significant 18% reduction of overall sexual pleasure, with each average 15% reduction in length of the penis corresponding to that. So basically, for every 15% they reduced the penis length, it got a corresponding 18% reduction in pleasure from their partner. It's a very, very interesting way of sort of like quantifying sex. The second chart I'm going to show you is from what's known as the husband dick survey. So basically they surveyed a bunch of women about their preferences for length and girth, and, you know, kind of asked women to describe their ideal husband dick scenario. And if you look at the graph here, the bright red A's, which were the perfect ideal penis sizes, they all tend to fall in the range of 7¼ inches in length to 8¼ inches in length, and in terms of girth, 6¼ inches to 6½ inches in circumference. That is what has been reported as the ideal husband dick by women. Now, how do you actually increase the size of your penis? When I first got into the adult entertainment industry, over the course of 8 months, I focused and dedicated myself to applying these techniques, and I grew my penis by just over 1 inch in length, and I increased the girth of my penis by about 1/3 of an inch as well. So how do you actually increase the length and girth of your penis? Well, there's a few different ways you do that. One is to stretch the ligaments that attach your penile shaft to the pubic bone. You can stretch and lengthen those. The other techniques you can use will involve micro tears in the penile shaft itself, both lengthwise and girthwise. That will cause you to get your gains there as well. So again, if you're interested in learning how I did it and how my students increase the size of their penis as well, check out my ebook. It's in the description down below, How I Grew My Penis and Other Porn Industry Secrets. Now, here is a testimonial you might be interested in from one of my best customers, Mark. And over the course of 6 months, he has tracked his progress and has updated me with it every so often. So this first email came from Mark in February 18, 2021. He says, here's something you can use. 56-year-old married guy who used to be a solid 6 inches in length, 5½ in girth when younger. No idea when it started happening, but I shrunk to 5½ in length. Wife actually commented on the loss of size a year ago. 6 weeks after starting your program, I've gained 1/4 inch in length back. I'm stoked, and I'm in it to win it, going for my younger size and more. Thanks for bringing these techniques to my attention. I like Mark's enthusiasm, and I like his determination. So that was February 18, 2021. His next follow-up email was in April 26th of 2021. Forwarding this thread back to you, feel free to use this again. 6 weeks in, he gained 1/4 inch back. Now week 17, and I'm up to 6.6 inches. Bigger than ever, and hoping for 7. The guy's got goals. I like it. And his most recent email from me, June 10th, 2021. My 6-month update after buying your penis book, my length has increased from 5.5 to 6.7 inches. Always knew I was fairly thick at 5½ girth, but extra length is always better. So in just 6 months, he's made quite a significant increase in his length gains. I was wrong. Actually, Mark sent me one more update, and this was on October 8th, 2021. I was using his screenshots on Twitter, blocking out his name, not letting anyone see it. He said, I would have sent you my most recent update, measurements of 7.3 inches. So that's 4 months after his previous email. So as you can see, if you actually put in the time and effort into the techniques that I teach, you will actually see real world results. This is not a magic pill. I don't pretend that it's some magic pill. You're going to take one supplement, do one thing, and then poof, you're going to get results. No, it's the same with basically anything in life. You actually have to put some goddamn work and focus and dedicated attention into it to actually see some results. Now, if you want to know how to use your bigger penis, then you should check out this video right here about super sausage thrusting power.